Becoming a Whirlwind Plus member just got even better. A new perk is Tuesday is guest day. Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass has Whirlwind Plus. It's only $299 for the year. And now, every Tuesday until June 1st, Whirlwind Plus allows you to bring a guest and both of you receive the Whirlwind Plus membership discount. Go to whirlwindgolf.com, click on Whirlwind Plus, and feel the wind.
Thanks for listening, Unplugged Army. I'm Louis Unga, General Manager at Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass. We're proud to present Doug Franz Unplugged.
Forming offense. Forming offense.
4 minutes.
Forming offense. Forming offense.
Everything you need to know in sports that affects Maricopa County, the state of Arizona, and the world, you get in 4 minutes. We start things off in Glendale, Arizona. Cardinals lose again in the same way on a walk-off field goal, this time at home to Seattle, 23-20. Kyler Murray went 27 of 41 for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he also threw 2 bad interceptions, but they weren't bad on his end, as Marvin Harrison Jr. stopped on a route on the first one and then bobbled the ball into an interception on the second. Great comeback with 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns, but it wasn't enough. Head coach Jonathan Gannon.
Obviously a disappointing finish, to lose again here on a walk-off. And I just told them, I appreciate the resiliency that's there. No one has their head down. Everyone believes we can win. We're not doing enough all 3 phases to win these games, and that's very clear.
Up next, Arizona's at home again. They take on the Titans Sunday afternoon at 1. Felt like a day of losing with the Diamondbacks getting absolutely run over 8-0 by the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman went 2 for 3 with 2 homers and 3 RBIs. Diamondbacks decided to push Zach Gallen until today, going with an opener, Jalen Beeks, and he took the loss. Manager Torey Lavello.
For us to walk off the field, get beat 8-0 is nothing that we had forecasted or expected. And, offensively, we got to be better. That's it. Talking about margins, there is none. We're right up against it as hard and as tight as you possibly can be.
The worst case scenario happened. Reds and Mets both won. Current standings. New York is up by a game on the Reds and up by 2 games on Arizona. New York finishes the season at Miami starting tonight at 4:10. Reds are at Milwaukee. First pitch 5:10. The number of elimination is 2. If the Mets win 2 games, the Reds win 2 games, or the Diamondbacks lose 2 games, D-backs are out. Arizona's also out if one of those teams win 1 and the Diamondbacks lose 1. Tonight, Arizona's in San Diego. Zach Gallen will go on the hill. He's got a 4.70 ERA and a 1.24 whip. He's up against Yu Darvish, who's 4-5 with a paltry 1.15 whip. Darvish will throw the first pitch at 6:40. One good thing did happen yesterday. Suns practice. Jordan Ott, how did it feel to run your first practice as an NBA head coach?
It always goes back to what I've done. The hardest part is not being involved in the drills, because you delegate some of the drills, and then that hour before, when everyone's on the court, the individual workout, that hour was a long hour, but then once we got going, it was great.
Up next, the preseason. Game 1 comes up in a week. Oh, the busy sports week just keeps rolling. Tonight in Tempe, ASU takes on TCU, 6 o'clock. 30 minutes after kickoff, the focus shifts downtown. Mercury are tied 1 game apiece with the Lynx in a best-of-5 series. Tip-off against the WNBA's number 1 seed, downtown, 6:30. UofA's on the road at Ames, Iowa to take on number 14 Iowa State. Head coach Matt Campbell, what do you think of the Wildcats quarterback Noah Fafita?
I think what you've seen from this young man is just a great confidence. Year 3 is the starter. He's confident where he's going with the football. He's got elite arm strength. He's got the ability to make all the throws, which is uber impressive.
Kickoff tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock. Then it's the Rising's turn. They got 5 games left. They're in 6th place right now. They take on Oakland tomorrow at home. Win and the Rising could jump to 5th. Lose and they would get kicked to 9th place and be temporarily out of the playoffs. Kickoff on 38th Street, 7 o'clock. And as you're listening to this, Ryder Cup has started. The United States versus Europe. Bethpage Black in New York. It's foursomes this morning. That means alternating shots. First group up is John Rahm and Tyrell Hatton versus Bryson DeChambeau and Justin Thomas. First tee time, 4:10 this morning. And finally, meet 19-year-old Rhonda Martin. She decided to join the Peace Corps, but she actually walked into the wrong building and joined the Marine Corps. It gets better. You want to learn a lesson on life? That story was 42 years ago. Now it's Lieutenant Colonel Rhonda Martin. And after 42 years, the Lieutenant Colonel is retiring. She is currently the longest serving active duty Marine. She will retire next week on September 30th. She says she's been deployed more times than she can actually count. She's taking leave that she's stored up, so her official retirement date is January 1st of 2026. And just to show you this woman ain't done yet, what's her major plan after leaving the Marine Corps this month? The 61-year-old plans on getting her doctorate degree. She says, please don't get her any retirement gifts or flowers. If you want to give, she asks that you donate to the Marine Corps Education Foundation to, quote, help service members and their families have additional opportunities to pursue educational goals, advancing their careers and elevating their lives. Lieutenant Colonel Martin, the Unplugged Army salutes you. Thank you for our freedom. Bell's Nashville Kitchen on Main Street in Old Town Scottsdale.
Some of the items on the menu that are really standing out lately you would not think of. Our blackened salmon actually is extremely popular. Our jambalaya is extremely popular. Most people walk in the door for the chicken, but the menu is so diverse and so carefully created that you can definitely choose anything with your eyes closed and you're going to get a great dish.
Bell's Nashville Kitchen on Main Street in Old Town Scottsdale.
You found home, down home.
If there is ever a day that we need this after what we went through yesterday, we need Beer Friday. Thank you, 100 Mile Brew. Some beer splashed on my scorecard, and the scorecard says it was 8-0, so I'm really not that upset about it. Hey, Mountain Ember Ale.
Hooray, beer!
You ever had a week like this? I mean, it's driving me crazy that I am just such a total failure. It is 5:48 in the morning right now. I have not slept. I'm just screwing up left and right. And I've already drunk all my beer. Oh, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever it is that you've decided to make Doug Franz Unplugged a part of your day, my family greatly appreciates it. My name is Doug Franz, and you have found the only podcast in the world totally devoted to the coverage of the 4 major sports franchises of one great American city that drops on your phone each and every weekday morning. We also cover ASU, UofA, GCU, the Rattlers, the Rising, and the Merc. This is Doug Franz Unplugged, presented by Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass. How are you? I'm a little mentally incoherent right now, to be quite honest. Slept for about 2.5, 3 hours, went to the Diamondbacks game, and then after the Diamondbacks game, came home, watched the Cardinals game, then interviewed Brad for our guru Brad for your fantasy league, then interviewed Brandon for the Ryder Cup from Whirlwind Golf, then finally started getting ready for the show, put my sound together, then did 4-minute offense, then did a 30-minute breakdown, then edited the 2 interviews, and now it's already 5:49, and I'm just getting going. Man. Some bad decisions by me to be this far behind, but the bad decision was, here it is. I went to 2 Diamondbacks games this week, but I felt like it was really important, and I missed Suns Media Day over it. Basically I got to get better. I got to keep growing. I got to grow faster so I can hire some help. I know I've said that to you before, but it's just so intimidating. To try to grow, but I want to, I got to have the podcast to you by 5 in the morning at some point. Okay. Enough of me yapping. I might as well just hurry up and get to it. It's time for Doug's big one. It's my number 1 opinion of the day. Doug
Where's Doug? Here, sorry, Doug. Where you at?
Yeah, was that a plug to unplug right there? That was smooth.
Well, I can only answer the questions that get asked of me, Doug.
Obviously, Franz is such a good player.
Doug's big one. You never saw this coming in a million years. I'm actually kind of positive about some of the things I saw from the Cardinals last night. I think they did some things that they can build on, and I saw some things I didn't expect, namely leadership from Kyler Murray. I don't know how closely you were watching the game, but there was a moment in time where they showed Kyler Murray kind of rubbing the top of the helmet, shaking the head a little bit of Marvin Harrison, as if to say, I know you're giving me all you got. We'll get this figured out. Because they looked so ridiculous in the first half. And to see actual leadership by Kyler Murray without his attitude that he's had so many times when things don't go his way. He looked fantastic from that standpoint. Sure, there's a lot of problems. But he didn't throw his little fits every time something didn't work out. And then listening to him in the post-game press conference, it just sounded like he's got a handle on it. Jonathan Gannon sounded like they got a handle on it, but they didn't sugarcoat it. They didn't act like there wasn't a problem, but they didn't act like they were panicking or consumed by it either. I really liked the attitude that I saw from them. That's my number one opinion of the day, is that fourth quarter happened. Now, can they build on it? Marvin Harrison Jr. probably hit rock bottom at halftime. And look at the way he came back. That's got to show you something. And the way the entire team is still playing that hard to come back from a 17-3 deficit. When the offense was that terrible, there weren't finger pointing. There was just action. There was do more. That's a lot of good things. I didn't see some terrible coaching. No, I don't have a problem with Drew Petzing other than the flea flicker. The flea flicker was really stupid. But the other stuff, listen, when players drop passes, when receivers run wrong routes, you can't get into a flow as an offensive coordinator anyway. You can't get creative. You can't run plays and set them up for later in the game. And he doesn't deserve the blame for all the problems of the offense when players are not doing what they're supposed to do. To an extent, I mean, you've got to call plays that players can execute, but like the interception, the first interception, how is, Drew Petzing, it doesn't know the receiver's going to stop running, right? That's man coverage. In man coverage, you keep moving to pull away from the man guarding you. In zone coverage, it's called sit it down. You stop running once you're in a little window. Once you're open in zone coverage, why run into somebody else's zone? You found the right spot. Man coverage, you keep going. Kyler threw it for him to keep going. He stopped. That's not on Drew Petzing. Okay, that's high school. High school receivers, if they're in man, keep running. Why did Marvin Harrison Jr. stop? I think his confidence is so low that he was assuming he must have messed up and then slows down and then realizes he screwed up. But Kyler actually led. Kyler actually said something and stayed with him. It's been like 6 years waiting for that moment. And it's happening. I think you can build on that fourth quarter. I think that was real. And that's Doug's big one. Making the ultimate sacrifice tomorrow. My Bobcats are on national television in the morning, and I will be at Santan Ford. But I'm excited. My daughter's going to purchase her first car on her own. She's got 2 of them picked out. She's going to drive them, try to figure out what she's interested in. This is exciting. We've chosen Santan Ford. And you knew I would, because I wasn't going to ask you to do it all this time and then not do it myself when our family is ready. And I can't wait to report back about my own experience. So far, every member of the Unplugged Army that's gone to Santan Ford has been thrilled with the process. And I'm highly confident we are going to be too. Go to santanford.com. I am Santan Ford.
The rules of inclusion in the breakdown are as follows. Number 1.
Any game with an FBS program from Arizona.
Or number 2.
Any ranked Big 12 program.
Or number 3.
Any game with 2 top 25 teams.
Or number 4.
Any game involving a team in the NFC West.
Or number 5.
Any NFL game when both teams have a winning record.
Each breakdown will have 3 elements.
1 person or matchup that will be the focus of
the stare down.
1 interesting stat to be used by you while drinking a beer to impress a friend.
Beer stat.
And 1 player Doug is watching to prepare for the 2026 NFL Draft in April.
Draft Watch. If your game meets one of the 5 criteria, then your game will be highlighted in sequential order based on kickoff time in this week's college and NFL football breakdown.
Break it all down. Breakdown.
The Arizona Cardinals, who are now 2-2, lost 23-20 to the Seattle Seahawks, who improved to 3-1 last night at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Arizona was favored by 1.5.
So get this, the Arizona Cardinals are 2-2, but so far on the year, they either play reasonably okay for 3 quarters, then fall on their face in the 4th quarter. Now it's completely flipped against Seattle. They're a disaster through the first 3 quarters, and then they had an outstanding 4th quarter. But again, when it comes time to put somebody away, they can't do it. For you alliteration fans, here's Cardinal quarterback Kyler Murray.
It's frustrating because you watch the defense go out there and get stop after stop, and offensively, we just couldn't get it going. Couldn't get it going. Credit to their defense. We just gotta make more plays. We gotta show up, be ready to go. You know what I mean? It's like we're just loading. You know what I mean? And it's taking too long. Obviously, the resilience of the team is you love to see it, and you feel like give yourself a chance to win the game at the end, but it's just too late.
The stare down.
I'm staring down the fans, the Arizona Cardinal fans that keep going after the offensive coordinator. It's driving me crazy. Kyler Murray faked a swing pass to Dortch, then he threw it blind and had it knocked down. Not on Drew Petzing. 8:58 first quarter. Interception. Marvin Harrison Jr. stops running his route, and Kyler throws it. The read is man coverage. Harrison's not supposed to stop the route. It ends up in a pick. Not Drew Petzing's fault. 6:58 to go in the first quarter. Tip Ryman is wide open in the end zone. Bad read. They dump it down to the other tight end in McBride, and then the play is stopped. Not on Drew Petzing. Because Isaiah Adams is struggling, late in the first quarter, they swing him over to pick up Nwosu. Adams gets juked out of his shorts. Kyler gets sacked. Again, why is he starting and not Will Hernandez? That's a head coach decision, not Drew Petzing. 11:31 second quarter. Marv runs down the field. Kyler throws an out. Not on Drew Petzing. 10:37 second quarter. Leonard Williams jumps up, knocks the pass down. Not Drew Petzing's fault that they drafted a 5', 10" quarterback. 8:32 left second quarter. Kyler Murray with an absolute dime drops it in the hole right to Marvin Harrison, who juggles it into another Jones interception. Again, not on Petzing. 3:50 to go second quarter. It's 3rd and 2. They give it to Michael Carter, who only gains a yard. But then they punt on 4th and 1. So either they weren't going to go for it, and then that was a bad play call by Drew Petzing, or they were going to go for it, and then somebody changed their mind. This was probably on Drew Petzing. Why are you calling a little bitty 1-yard run with Michael Carter when you've got Kyler Murray, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, even though he was struggling, and a whole host of weapons. And instead, a guy that gets called up from the practice squad, you say, I trust you on 3rd and 2. That was not good. 49 seconds, second quarter. Dropped interception by Love. Kyler made a horrific throw. It should have been interception number 3. Would have been the only one that was totally on Kyler, but it still would not have been on Drew Petzing. 3 minutes to go. Third quarter. Try a flea flicker. Okay, that's really on Drew Petzing. That is, listen. That's a disastrous play call. You run a flea flicker because the other team is so scared of your rushing attack that they all come running forward. Then you fool them and throw it over their head. If nobody is scared of you running the football, why would you fake running the football? They're not going to buy the fake because even if you really run it, they know you're not going anywhere. They want you to run the football. They know they can stop it. So don't fake the run and think you're going to fool them because they're not going to change what they're doing. That one was really dumb. That one is on Drew Petzing. 6:30 to go in the game. Kyler takes a disastrous sack. Throw it now. You had a receiver and you keep waiting for one more visual cue. That is, again, not on Drew Petzing.
Your stat?
0. I never say this. Budda Baker had a bad game. 5 tackles, 0 tackles for loss, 0 passes defended, 0 quarterback hits, and he drew a penalty. I almost feel like I'm never going to say that again.
The 3-1 Arizona State University Sun Devils versus the number 24 Texas Christian University Horned Frogs, who are 3-0. Mountain America Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. Tonight at 6. Fox 10. ASU is favored by 2.5.
I don't see what Vegas sees. In nearly every analytic category, TCU is a better football team. Clearly, Vegas is giving a big nod to home field advantage on a short week. The game might boil down to one question. Who has the better quarterback? In August, I would have laughed at you for even asking the question. Through 4 games, the answer is clearly Josh Hoover for the road team and not Sam Leavitt. That needs to change to keep ASU undefeated in conference play. Head coach Kenny Dillingham, what do you see from Hoover and the Horned Frogs offense?
Yeah, the quarterback. He's a really, really good football player. Can extend plays, can make throws in the pocket, anticipates throws, knows where to go with the ball. He's really good, and then they have weapons outside. And then Coach Bryles, it's amazing what he does on offense. It's so much different than what he used to be, and it's so creative, and it's very, very explosive, not just in the passing game, but in the running game. They are very creative. Different formations every week, trying to create leverages.
The stare down.
The Devils' third down defense. TCU is 5th best in the nation in converting on third downs at an incredible 62.5% clip. The key is their great horizontal passing game that works like an extended handoff. Positive yards on first and second downs lead to very manageable third downs. That will wipe out most of the Arizona State defensive coordinator Brian Ward's creativity because you don't have exotic blitz schemes on 3rd and 2, especially with Hoover completing 68% of his passes.
Your stat?
101, the rank of ASU in the air. The Sun Devils are averaging 187 yards passing per game. That's it. There are 100 FBS teams with a better passing offense than Arizona State. By way of comparison, TCU is 6th, averaging 341 yards per game. But that's only because of losing yards on sacks. Hoover, as an individual, leads the nation with his 333 yards per game.
Draft Watch.
According to most draft websites, Sam Leavitt has played himself out of the first round, while Jordan Tyson has moved into the top 5. I agree with both. I'm hoping to sit next to a scout tonight and talk to one about how he sees Sam Leavitt. This is the game that he should get right. TCU safety Bud Clark can play. I have him as about a 5th round pick, which is higher than most. The rest of the TCU defense plays well as a team, but is not gushing with NFL talent. If Leavitt can't get fat tonight, when will he? I am watching the other side of the ball closely as well. Horned Frogs quarterback Josh Hoover and his favorite target, wide receiver Eric McAllister, are going up against ASU corner Keith Abney. McAllister has 3 inches on Abney, so it will be great to see how well Abney matches up as the smaller man. I have Abney as a late weekday pick and McAllister as a middle pick on the weekend. This will be the perfect battle for both to prove themselves.
The number 21 University of Southern California Trojans, who are 4-0, at the number 23 University of Illinois Fighting Illini, who are 3-1. Memorial Stadium in Champaign, Illinois, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Fox 10, USC has to cover 6.5.
The numbers on this game are all over the place. Illinois lost 63-10 last week, so their season stats are terribly out of whack. And after watching about a quarter and a half of that game, those numbers are out of whack, deservedly so. USC has quietly, on the other hand, built one of the best offenses in the country, averaging 583 yards plus 52 points a game. That ranks top 5 in both. However, one catch about their near 600 yards is regaining the yards they've already earned. There's only 6 teams in FBS that average more penalty yards than USC.
The stare down.
The defensive front 7 for the supposedly Fighting Illini, which actually fought very little last week. I don't care about the injuries in the Illini defensive backfield. Indiana rushed for 312 yards plus 3 touchdowns last week, torching Illinois. There is no unit under the gun more in all of college football than the Illini defense.
Your stat?
USC's schedule has been so soft, I don't want to give them too much credit. However, the fact that they're 3rd in FBS in offensive yards is offensive for me because I'm a USC hater. Jaden Mayava has thrown for 9 touchdowns without a pick with a 71% completion percentage. That's impressive to do that in practice, let alone a game.
Draft watch.
This is the perfect game where scouts really make their money. Makai Lemon might be a first-round pick, but I'm a little nervous to do that because the USC wide receiver is only 5'11". Now, he's fast, but I would rather have him early on Friday, and if someone else wants to take him Thursday night, so be it. I lose him. No, the reason why this is a scout's paradise is all of the talent that's littered throughout every round of the draft in this game. The best scouts are going to be able to walk out of this game with a better picture of each player's draft value. There's good matchups all over. I'm going to personally be focused most on USC safety Kamari Ramsey against Illini quarterback Luke Altmaier. Right now, I would take a flyer on Altmaier, probably in the 7th round, but if he can move Ramsey with his eyes and avoid USC cornerback DJ Harvey's coverage skills, especially in man-to-man, maybe Altmaier has the moxie to make up for his limitations.
The number 4 Louisiana State University Tigers, who are 4-0. At the number 13 University of Mississippi Rebels, who are 4-0. Vaught Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi, tomorrow afternoon at 12:30. ABC 15. Ole Miss has to cover 1.5.
This game is very interesting because Vegas says LSU is the 1-point favorite. However, the wise guys moved that line in favor of the Rebels very quickly. The real intrigue of this game is with the Ole Miss quarterback starting situation for the Giants, as in the New York Giants. The Rebs still haven't found Jackson Dart's replacement. Austin Simmons started the season, but got hurt early. Trinidad Chambliss has filled in, and he's kept the Rebels undefeated. But now with rumors swirling that Simmons is healthy enough to go back in, Chambliss is still going to be the starter anyway. Brian Kelly has decided to prepare for both Ole Miss quarterbacks, which is entertaining considering his lack of success against Lane Kiffin when he's only prepared for one quarterback in the past. Now he's got to worry about 2.
The stare down.
I got 2 questions for you, head coach Brian Kelly of LSU. Number 1, why do you always get out-coached by Lane Kiffin and then make excuses after the game or blame other people? And number 2, how are you 31st in the country in passing, but 112th in rushing? Ole Miss is 122nd in rush defense, and yet you're not good enough to take advantage of the one weakness they've got.
Your stat?
9. Against the previous LSU defensive coordinator, Ole Miss averaged 35 points a game. Now, the new DC, Blake Baker, has led LSU to a 9th place ranking in the country by giving up only 9 points per game. But is he ready for the onslaught of the Rebels?
Draft Watch.
I'm watching every moment Ole Miss has the ball because LSU has players the Cardinals and my Commanders need at every level of the Tigers' defense. Cornerback Mansour Delane will be there whenever each team drafts in the first round. I like linebacker Whit Weeks in the middle of Friday, and you can talk me into safety A.J. Halsey as long as he's done fighting at some point at the end of Friday night. Besides Halsey, linebacking core with Perkins Jr., who I'd like to have in the 5th round. I'd like to have to take maybe Patrick Payton off the LSU edge in the same round, but I would love to have him in the 6th. I wouldn't draft the edge rusher on the other side, Jack Pyburn, but I would love to run and sign him as an undrafted free agent. You can never have too many high motor, high football IQ guys. I could see Pyburn making a roster as a special team stud, and then maybe he develops into more, like maybe Dennis Gardeck.
The 3-0 University of Arizona Wildcats at the number 14 Iowa State University Cyclones, who are 4-0. Jack Trice Stadium in Ames, Iowa. Tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. ESPN. UofA is a 6.5-point underdog.
Things definitely get real for the Wildcats on the road at the most difficult venue in the Big 12 because Cyclone fans, they're just crazy. There's still a long way to go, but the winner of this game puts themselves on track for the championship game in 2 ways. Not only does the winner remain undefeated, but they just beat a quality team who might pick up more wins along the way to dramatically help the winner in the tie-breaking category. Last year, ASU had wins over both Kansas schools. That helped tremendously when those teams picked up some big wins over BYU and Colorado to push the tiebreak in the Devils' favor.
The stare down.
The 4th quarter. Other than Iowa State hosting Iowa, the two teams haven't been strongly challenged in the 4th quarter. Take these stats, therefore, with a grain of salt, but it's strange how bad both teams are in the 4th, specifically at quarterback. The average Big 12 quarterback gets sacked on 3% of his 4th quarter dropbacks. Wildcat quarterbacks are getting sacked at 23% of their 4th quarter dropbacks, which is by far worse in the conference. Well, it's not really all that great for Iowa State either. Only 2 teams in America have never thrown a 4th quarter touchdown pass this year, and Iowa State is one of them.
Your stat?
Name your stat. And the new coordinators for U of A have had a massive effect on it. Scoring offense, they're up to 37th in the nation. Scoring defense, even better, 6th in the nation. Passing defense, 13th in the nation. 3rd down defense, 8th in the nation. And the big one, turnover margin, only 3 teams out of 133 are better than U of A. One thing for U of A to improve on, however, penalties. ISU gives the opponent only 27 yards in penalties, which is 8th best in FBS, while U of A ranks 100th, giving up 63 yards.
Draft Watch.
You can really make your money as a scout in this game, too. I don't think there's any first-round talent on the field, as I've not been impressed with Dominique Orange, at least not as much as I had hoped. The Cyclone 3-Tech has incredible size, but I haven't seen it translate into making plays. Now, I feel like I know most of the players in this game pretty well. One that I don't know well is Iowa State corner, back, Jeremiah Cooper. I don't see him on any draft boards, but I like his size and speed. If he can string a couple good games together, he could play his way into this draft.
The number 6 University of Oregon Ducks, who are 4-0. At the number 3 Penn State University Nittany Lions, Beaver Stadium in University Park, Pennsylvania. Tomorrow afternoon at 4:30. 12 News. Penn State is favored by 3.5.
Penn State is considered the 3rd best team in the country by beating Nevada, Florida International, and Villanova. Their conference schedule isn't much tougher despite 3 games against potential top 10 teams, including this one. The Nittany Lions play the bottom of the barrel in the Big Ten. Oregon, on the other hand, at least tried by scheduling the Civil War and Oklahoma State, who were both much better when the contracts were signed. Penn State, they have a history of choking, So I asked this question, why is this game going to be any different?
The stare down.
We're staring down Penn State head coach James Franklin. One question, if not now, when?
Beer stat?
6. Oregon has 6 Big Ten games this year in which their opponent is coming off their bye week, this game included. Someone in the Big Ten has some major explaining to do, or they were just asleep at the wheel. If Oregon comes through the Big Ten Conference with a great record, remember that stat, that every team got extra prep time and couldn't beat them anyway.
Draft watch.
Both quarterbacks are on the verge or maybe on the edge of getting drafted on Thursday night. A good game here would go a long way to solidify their dreams of shaking Roger Goodell's hand. I'm more interested in seeing NFL versus NFL talent that's head-to-head. I like Oregon tackle Isaiah World in the first round. I'm not sure what to make of Penn State edge rusher Danny Dennis-Sutton. At 6'5", 265, I'd really like to see those two guys go straight up.
The number 17 University of Alabama Crimson Tide, who are 2-1. At the number 5 University of Georgia Bulldogs, who are 3-0. Sanford Stadium in Athens, Georgia. Tomorrow afternoon at 4:30, ABC 15. Georgia has to cover 3.5.
It's very strange that Kalen DeBoer is nowhere near reaching the standard that Alabama fans expect. But he's 5-1 in his career when he plays a top 10 team. Even last year, in his first SEC win as the Bama head coach, it was against the number 2 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. If the Tide lose, Alabama won't start listening to their fans, and I mean the athletic department. But rest assured, the fans will do everything they can to be heard. It may sound crazy to other fan bases around the country, but not even Yankee fans demand championships like Alabama fans do. For them, they say it goes God, Jesus, family, and Alabama football. Truthfully, it's not always in that order.
The stare down.
The connection between Bama quarterback Ty Simpson and wide receiver Ryan Williams has been on display the last 2 games, much better than it was versus Florida State. So did they just take advantage of a schedule break versus Louisiana Monroe and Wisconsin, or was it just 2 players advancing a little more each game, just like Levitt to Tyson started to develop last year for the Devils? UGA routinely supplies the number 1 defense in the country, so everything is ramped up. If you see Simpson to Williams going for lots of yards and points, then you know Bama is starting to build back something special.
Beer stat?
0. If you're looking for further proof that conference realignment is completely out of whack, Kirby Smart has been the head coach at Georgia for 10 years. Every year of his tenure, and for that matter, most years the United States has been a union, Georgia has bordered Alabama. And yet this will be the first time Kirby Smart ever coaches against the Tide in Athens, Georgia.
Draft watch.
I count 9 weekday draft picks with 5 players I'd have no problem taking even in the first round. To narrow it down, I'm all over the Bama O-line in this game against the UGA defensive line. It seems to me the ticket to the NFL is to be a Bulldog defensive lineman. This year's no different, with defensive tackle Christian Miller and linebacker C.J. Allen right behind him. However, if you're a Cardinals fan, this is your game. Not only would Miller look great on the inside of the Arizona front, but they would kill for an Alabama offensive lineman, and I mean almost any of them. You could have him replace Adams, Williams, or Froholt. Offensive tackle Caden Proctor will be gone probably within the first 90 minutes of the draft on Thursday, and I would love to slip in center Parker Brailsford or offensive guard Jaden Roberts before Friday's portion of the draft ended.
The number 25 Brigham Young University Cougars, who are 3-0. At the 2-2 University of Colorado Buffaloes, Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado. Tomorrow night at 7:15, ESPN. BYU has to cover 6.5.
I think BYU is better than the 25th best team in the country. I think this is the easiest game on the board other than my pick that Seattle was going to cover last night against the Cardinals. BYU's combination of a strong running game and downfield throws is something the Buffaloes can't handle without last year's secondary.
The stare down.
Easily the Colorado defense. BYU has the 11th best rushing offense in the country. And now they'll be going up against the 99th best, or maybe worse, rushing defense. Stopping LJ Martin and his crazy 8.6 yards per carry is a chore that CU is not ready for, considering they gave up 500 yards on the ground in their last 2 games.
Your stat?
9.8. This isn't Draft Watch, but I might be bringing up Bear Bachmeier if you're still listening to me in 2027 for Draft Watch. The Cougar quarterback is averaging 9.8 yards per pass attempt. Man, that's a great number for any quarterback, but it's tremendous for a true freshman. Mix in his ability to kill you with his legs, and it will be way too much for Colorado.
Draft Watch.
I would say there's one really good matchup here between Buffalo corner DJ McKinney and BYU wide receiver Chase Roberts. McKinney isn't small. He's 6'2", 180. But this is one of the rare times he'll feel like he's small because Roberts is huge. The redshirt senior is 6'4" and 210. I would say most NFL teams are looking at Roberts as probably an early 6th round pick. And he could easily make an additional, $300,000 in draft slot with a good game.
The 2-1 Minnesota Vikings at the 2-1 Pittsburgh Steelers. Croke Park in Dublin, Ireland. Sunday morning at 6:30. NFL Network. Minnesota is favored by 2.5.
This is special. The Rooney's team going to the Rooney's homeland. I'm not a Steelers fan, but you can't be a fan of football without being a fan of what the Rooneys mean to the NFL. However, if the Steelers are over there to sightsee, they'll blow a chance to beat a good team playing with their backup quarterback. In a division as tough as the AFC North, Pittsburgh has to take advantage of this opportunity to get a win against Carson Wentz.
The stare down.
Aaron Rodgers, to me, has proven nothing. Now, of course, he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, over the course of his career. But right now, this year, in the last couple of years, he hasn't done much. The Jets turned the ball over 5 times to that Steelers defense. So little credit goes to Rodgers for just being able to take advantage. Yes, he is second in the league in touchdown passes, but that's due to the defense getting the turnovers in that game against New York. Rodgers is only 22nd in yards, and he's average in quarterback rating. If he plays well against a Brian Flores-led defense, it could dramatically propel the season for the Steelers in a positive way. And if he cares, change my opinion by proving me wrong.
Your stat?
One area where Rodgers does deserve credit is his red zone efficiency. Last year, Pittsburgh scored a touchdown on only 48% of their red zone possessions. This year, they've been stopped once, and they've converted 87.5% of the time for another 6 points.
The 3-0 Philadelphia Eagles at the 3-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Sunday morning at 10. Fox 10. Philly is favored by 3.5.
The Cardiac Bucks doesn't really have a ring to it, but it's exactly what is happening in Tampa. No team in the history of the NFL has ever trailed in the final minute of the game in every single game to start the season and yet sit at 3-0 until this year's Buccaneers.
The stare down.
The tush push is getting stared down. Vita Vea runs about 350 pounds as the defensive tackle for the Tampa Bay Bucks. It's amazing when you've got a Vea, suddenly the tush push doesn't work as well. It also makes it a lot easier to handle a great back like Saquon Barkley when the run game is forced to run around Vea, since everyone knows you can't run through him.
Your stat?
1. The Eagles have dominated every team in the NFL except Tampa. Since Jalen Hurts became the Philly starter, he's 53-16 against the 30 other teams in the NFL, but he's only 1-4 against the Bucks.
The 3-0 Indianapolis Colts at the 2-1 Los Angeles Rams. SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Sunday afternoon at 1. Sunday ticket. Rams have to cover 3.5.
This is crazy. I feel like we're close to the apocalypse with the Colts being 3-0. The Rams have to feel like they should be 3-0. They reached the red zone 4 times against Philly, and instead of walking away with 28 points, they only had 13. Making matters worse, they weren't technically in the red zone for that final play, but they tried to kick a game-winning field goal from the Eagles' 26 and ended up giving up a touchdown on a blocked kick. That means you could argue they were only 6 yards away from barely winning the red zone battle 13-7. I don't mean 13 points for their offense and 7 points for the other team's offense. I meant the Eagles' defense scored 7 points, and the Rams only had 13.
The stare down.
Going to look at the matchup of Jared Verse versus Daniel Jones. Now, actually, it's that offensive line for the Colts. But Verse has only 1 sack in his first 3 games. Daniel Jones has only been sacked on 2.3% of his dropbacks. That is far and away the best in the league. If both players come out of this game with the same numbers they had going into the game, it's time to take the Colts for real. But here's where it gets weird. Despite the start of the season Versus having with only 1 sack, the Rams lead the league in sacks.
Your stat?
All right, these stats are crazy I've got for this one. So far this year, the Colts have more wins than punts. They're 3-0. They've only punted once. Another number is 1986. The Baltimore Colts moved to Indianapolis in 1984. 2 years later, they beat the Los Angeles Raiders on the road. The Colts haven't won in the City of Angels since 1986.
The 2-1 Jacksonville Jaguars at the 3-0 San Francisco 49ers. Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. Sunday afternoon at 1. Sunday ticket, San Francisco is favored by 3.5.
Jacksonville feels like they're building something. Well, if they are, this will be their greatest test simply because it's a road game, and making it worse, it's a West Coast road game. The last time the Jaguars beat a non-divisional opponent on the road was Halloween of 2023. It's been since 22 that they won in California when they beat the Chargers. In all seriousness, they're only 4-5 team all time when they're on the West Coast. That one win against the Chargers, and all 3 of their other wins are in Oakland. For the Niners, the best case scenario is a blowout. They need to get their starters out before they travel south to take on the Rams on Thursday Night Football next week.
The stare down.
I'm staring at the quarterbacks for the 49ers, frankly because I have them both on my fantasy team and I don't know which one's starting, but also because neither of them have really played all that well. What's weird is I don't think it matters yet. When you have Shanahan as coach, McCaffrey in the backfield, and the Jags as an opponent, I think Jones or Purdy could start. Either way, the 49ers win.
Your stat?
80. In the first 145 games that Kyle Shanahan has been a head coach, the 49ers only won 2 games whenever they rushed for 80 yards or fewer. Yet in games 146 and 147, meaning the last 2 games of Kyle Shanahan's career, they rushed for fewer than 80 yards again. Yet they won both games. And that is your Week 5 of the college football season, Week 4 of the NFL season. Breakdown. I don't know if you agree with me, but I like to do breakdown very, very early in the show. And the reason why is I just feel like it kind of sets the tone on a Beer Friday, thanks to 100 Mile Brewing Company. Just says, okay, here's where we're at. And then it gave me, I gave you a ton of my Cardinals opinions in there, like get off Drew, which is my new phrase, I think, because of the way the world is all fired up at Drew Petzing. Let's get things rolling. I'm going to play. So this is Jonathan Gannon walks up to the podium, thanks to Arizona the Arizona Cardinals YouTube page and just says, okay, here we go. Here's some injuries and then into the game.
Obviously a disappointing finish, to lose again here on a walk-off. And I just told them, I appreciate the resiliency. That's there. No one has their head down. Everyone believes we can win. We're not doing enough all three phases to win these games, and that's very clear. So I just told them they need to get rested up this weekend. It's tough to play 2 games like that. Everybody has to do it. Seattle played well. Give them credit. Got to get rested up, reset our mind and our body, and then come back to Monday and get better at playing football. 3 phases really for now 4 games, pretty good sample size. We just haven't put it together like I think we're capable of putting it together. Those are just words. It's my job to make sure that we put it together. So that's what we'll be working on.
He didn't sound to me as defeated as he normally does after losses. I think there's some encouraging signs that I think he sees it as well. But you can imagine so many questions were about this offense.
Yeah, we're not doing enough to win a game right now. I mean, point blank. So, between not really our run efficiency is not where it needs to be. Generating explosives, not where it needs to be. Penalties are killing drives. Sacks are killing drives. It's everybody, and it starts with me. So we got to find some solutions so we can play a little better. Because when we get it rolling, we can put points on the board. I know that. We just haven't done it for 4 quarters. And I know an NFL game, there's going to be ebbs and flows. That's a good way to put it. But we're not doing enough. So we got to find some solutions.
Now, you heard me say in breakdown that early field goal drive, Tip Ryman left the line of scrimmage, went right up, ran a corner route wide open. 1-on-1, turns his shoulders to the quarterback. He's available. And Kyler had already made the decision, I'm going underneath the Trey McBride. He didn't read what the defense is saying. The defense is saying, we're going to do this to you. And he said, no, never mind. I am going to force the ball where I wanted it to go. So that's the difference between getting a touchdown and not getting a touchdown. So that's why this question is interesting. It was asked by Bobby Mack, and it was just simply, are you at the point where you need to make dramatic changes to the offense?
No, there's not. We start with we got to coach better. But we do have to take a good hard look and look what's going on and adapt. Because if we keep doing the same thing, in my mind, like when you've been in the NFL long enough, you got these stretches where you feel like you're letting some games slip away. If you keep just doing the same thing and hoping, that's not good coaching. So we will change and adapt some things. There's no doubt.
I like hearing that. Again, sorry the podcast is so late. I just realized now that I thought about it. It was the convergence of everything that's terrible for me to have such an important week for the Diamondbacks, go to 2 games on a Monday and Wednesday, so I have less time to write breakdown, then have a Thursday night Cardinals game, so I have less time to produce breakdown, while I'm trying to get ready for a Friday night ASU game. That was a lot for me. I don't know how I could have done better. And Sons Media Day, this week took a toll. So thanks a ton for being a part of the show and sticking with me when, maybe the quality of the show is down a little bit. And I wanted to stop a second and really appreciate that. I like that last answer because that is JG acknowledging it's not good enough and assuming doing nothing different is going to change something. I love the fact, granted it's all talk, but it seems like he gets it. Now, the big question is obviously Marvin Harrison right now is not worth a first round pick. Why not? What can be done to get it going? This is Mark McClune, CBS 5, Arizona's Family 3 TV, asking Kyler, how did he and Marvin Harrison find their way through a terrible first half together to an excellent second half together. But what I want to, the reason why I included Mark's question is I want you to hear how long the pause is, how long the thought process is, how long it takes before Kyler answers the question about Marv. And then just finally says, yeah, he dropped it. It's like, I'm thinking about protecting him. No, I'm not going to protect him. But at the same time, Kyler does one of the rare things where he makes it sound very team-oriented. Yeah, it's a drop. It's bad. Let's not sugarcoat it. But he really changes it from him and Marv struggling to a team answer really quick. I think this is great growth from Kyler.
Throughout the night with Marv, how did it kind of develop? The first half looked like there were a lot of struggles, miscommunication. What kind of clicked for the two of you in the second half, fourth quarter specifically?
First half, he dropped the ball. Like, there's nothing, I've seen Marv catch that ball like 100 times. I'm not. Again, I told y'all throughout the week I wasn't worried about it. Continue to go to him, obviously, and he came up clutch in the stretch. That's part of football. That's part of football. I got the utmost confidence in Marv. I will continue to have the confidence in Marv. We just got to go back to the drawing boards and be better. We got to be better. He knows that. I know that. Whole offense understands that. That we got to start faster and and play better complementary football, because right now it's too all over the place and it's not good enough. Haven't put 4 quarters together as a unit, to go out there and dominate. And you see the flashes, but like I said, it's just. Margin for error is so small, so we got to be better.
There's just a way in the past 3, 4, 5 years where Kyler sits there like all the questions are beneath him. And he doesn't understand you can lead in a press conference. You can show everybody the direction we're about to go in. That wasn't like he was not inspiring in the press conference, but he wasn't depressing anymore either. He didn't act like the season's over because of a loss. Yes, I don't want somebody happy with losing, but I want them to have the attitude of this is how I'm going to go about fixing it. And normally Kyler has a melodramatic episode with every loss. And he's not going to be able to overcome it. It's almost as if he's seeing his own previous attitude in Marvin Harrison Jr. And he's starting to understand how deflating it was when Kyler would do the same thing to his teammates. When your quarterback acts like we can't overcome this mistake and get so depressed by it, well, then the rest of the team is like, well, I guess we can't win, because if our leader is this stressed out about this situation, that means that must have cost us the game. We can't overcome it. And that does not sound like Kyler this time. He just sounded tremendously better. Here's the head coach talking about Marvin Harrison Jr.
I'm not worried about Marv at all. Like, he's going to be just fine. I thought he played faster today, too. That's what I told him. That's what I wanted to see. On a short week, there's not a lot you can work on because you're not practicing. I said, just let it rip and play fast. And I thought he did that. I'm not worried about Marv at all. I thought he's resilient just like that whole crew is. That's the good thing from my view. I know we have a connected team. I know we will go down swinging. I know we ain't going to quit. I know we're going to fight tooth and nail. We just got to do a little bit better.
There are so many times when Torey Lovello would talk that it's always just flush it, play today, or play tomorrow. Flush it, play tomorrow. And you just get the feeling that things aren't getting fixed. Or it's a marathon, not a sprint. Hey, it's early. And it's like you're so worried about the magnitude of the moment that you don't drop the hammer on people. Like you don't have a grip on the situation. And this time, I really got the feeling listening to Jonathan Gannon and Kyler Murray that they have the exact proper weight on this moment. That for 3 quarters, that was a last place team. And for the 4th quarter, that was a first place team. So we've shown that we can do something right, but we're not going to sugarcoat the problems either. We're going to make changes and we're going to figure it out. I like that a lot. Now listen to this and tell me if you feel the same growth. Teo Mackey, Arizona Republic, asked Kyler a question about how are you guys now into basically, your 17th game, or what it's more than that. Your 21st game together, and these miscommunications are still happening. He ran an out, you threw a pass into the flat. It just looked terrible. Then there's the interceptions. I mean, how is this still happening? And listen to Kyler's perfection in the answer.
Marv's first catch of the second half was that toe tapping one on the sideline. Could you see a level of confidence shift for him after that play?
Yeah, I mean, I just think Marv expects so much from himself. He expects so much. So, I mean, even that singular play is just not to his, what I'm saying? Like, it's not to his standard. Obviously, as an individual, he drops the ball, it's interception, right? And I'm sure that's lingering in his mind or whatever it is. But I love the way that he fought back and continued to play hard and continue to make plays. Obviously, he's probably going to go home thinking about that shit. But, at the end of the day, again, it's football. We all make mistakes, but he continued to battle. I'm excited. And I'm glad that he continued to he played his ass off in the fourth quarter. Continued to, when he got man, he made the plays. The touchdown catch was an amazing catch.
I think people pick up on that. I really do. And saying things are on Kyler about, that's on me. This was a follow-up to that question in which Teo Mackey is still wondering, okay, what happened here? What happened here?
It's football, man. It's football, again. And we can't, can we dwell on it? No, we can't, because we got another play. We got to continue to play, got to continue to execute. And, is it frustrating in the moment? Of course. But at the end of the day, we just lost on a field goal. None of that happens if we're sitting there and complaining about the previous plays. That's just how it goes. We got to continue to move on and play the game.
How do you explain that the miscommunications are still happening?
How?
Why do you think those are still happening?
The third one, the one that I threw to the flat and he was running, that was just, the defense was all out of sorts. So I don't want to get in too deep to, concept stuff like that. But that's, we were hurry up and they were out of sorts, and it just, if the defense does this, we do this. It just, just kind of messed up right there. But that's on me for sure.
The defense was kind of messed up, but that's on me for sure. I don't even know if it is. I mean, he might be full of crap on that, but he's taking the blame as quarterbacks do who are leaders. And then listen to him say what he said there at the beginning of that.
Can we dwell on it? No, we can't, because we got another play. We got to continue to play, got to continue to execute. And, is it frustrating in the moment? Of course. But
and what did he used to do? Sit on the bench and sulk every time. And what was he doing? Dwelling on it. But he admits, yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it can happen, but we've got to move on. That's not the attitude Kyler has had in the past when you hear me go nuts on him all the time. That's what I mean. That yesterday was a horrible day. I'm really worried about this weekend. I think we're losing all over the place, right? I think the Lynx are about ready to run over the Mercury. I think the Cardinals were a disaster for 3 quarters. The Diamondbacks completely blew it 2 nights ago, and then yesterday just embarrassed themselves. I'm very concerned that the best quarterback in tonight's game plays for TCU and not ASU, and I don't think UofA is going to win. All of that's going on right now, in which we're about ready to lose the Diamondbacks and Mercury. The Cardinals fall on their face, and this is not a good week. Go Suns. And yet I saw positives in the way the Cardinals handled the negatives of yesterday. And that's something I don't think they've done in the past at all. Now, one negative, I've been talking to you about this negative for Kyler forever, and if he doesn't get it fixed, I'm basically just blowing smoke today. The guy got sacked 6 times. 6 times. Impossible to sustain drives when you're getting sacked like that.
I mean, it's all 11. You know what I mean? It's everything from, the quarterback to the O-line to the receivers, the timing, all that. You know what I mean? And truthfully, Craig, I knew we were going to give up some sacks as much as we were going to throw it today. That's a good front. They got good rushers. They play a lot of different things in the back end, which makes you hold it a tick, you know what I mean? And I'm crediting Seattle, but we can't give up 6 sacks and think we're going to score points. They just kill drives. So third down sack, I get it, but it's the sacks on early downs to me that are just, you're good luck trying to keep a drive going when you're behind the sticks like that. So we got to clean that up.
Hey, we can't give up 6 sacks and think we're going to blank. Again, I feel like they've got a handle on it. I know I'm shocking you. I know you thought there's no way I'm going to come out of that game last night in a positive mood. You had to think I couldn't wait to rip them and I was going to laugh at them. And I understand why you would think that. But watching the game and watching the team continue to fight and watching the development of chemistry in that fourth quarter between Kyler and Marvin, and maybe his confidence is restored, well, then you got good things. And now you've got like a scrimmage coming up next weekend against the Titans to kind of get things right. And the next game is the Colts, which I thought was going to be a patsy, but it isn't. Colts are undefeated right now at 3-0. I don't know what's going to happen, obviously, on Sunday. But if this loss could lead to something, if there a lot of the same problems happen against the Titans, Cardinals probably win. But if it's still an ugly win, that means they didn't solve anything. But I think this game coming up against the Titans is so enormous only because it's fragile right now. Everybody in that locker room thinks they're good and failing. So if you do something successful against the Titans, you're going to feel like, okay, we've got things fixed. Even if you win against the Titans, but if you're terrible, then the guys are going to feel like, wow, we can only beat AFC South, NFC South teams. We're nothing without those divisions. They'll know it. Like I said, I'm really, really encouraged. And I'm not a Cardinals fan. Now, I went through all of the plays that were just terrible and mistakes and blah, blah, blah in breakdown. When I kept saying this play happened, not Drew's fault. Well, all of those plays really did happen, and they were bad. They were incredibly costly plays. So I'm not, acting like the Cardinals were just unlucky. They weren't unlucky. The Seahawks were better than they were. But they showed me enough that says, okay, and I'm going to keep harping on this point. I still don't see 7 teams in the NFC better than the Cardinals. Cardinals aren't very good, but I think they're one of the top 7 teams in the NFC, which would get them back into the playoffs. All right, time to help you with your fantasy. Every Tuesday, when I remember and don't fall asleep, we talk to Rich to help you with the waiver claims, get your ideas out to get set up for the upcoming week. And then Beer Friday, thanks to 100 Mile Brewing Company, is set your lineup day. And that's where Guru Brad comes in, and he gives you some ideas on some of the matchups that are coming up. That's next. This is Doug Franz Unplugged, presented by Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass. It's going to be hard to keep up with this list, but from Parker & Sons Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical, we have a reverse osmosis system, a tankless water heater, and 2 air scrubbers that actually remove pollens and germs from the air that we breathe in our home. So what does Parker & Sons do? They only handle the air that we breathe and the water that we drink, and they do a great job. Call 602-2-REPAIR. That's 602-2, then REPAIR for Parker & Sons.
Burrito Express started with my father about 25 years ago. He got laid off and decided that he needed to do something to provide for his family. My brother and I were older teens, 17, 18-year-old. I'm going to do a trial out of my house. So literally, we decided we're going to start out of his house. So we delivered menus in a square mile area, literally started delivering burritos out of our home in Mesa, Arizona. And after about a month, he said, let's do this. Went and found his first location. And believe it or not, that's how it started. We started with one location back in 1995. Now we're where we are now.
Okay, Unplugged Army, it is a Friday, which means it's time to set your rosters for your matchup for fantasy football. And Guru Brad is here, or otherwise known as No Name Henry. Before we get into the lineups, I don't know whether I should be happy or not. Both of my opponents this week, Brad, have Jackson Smith and Jigba. So I am down 11-0 before the game is even, before my weekend is even starting. Should I feel good that I'm only down 11-0 with Jackson Smith? Yeah, okay, I should. All right.
And you know what I think's awesome about Jackson Smith and Jigba? He's the only one that has a shortened JSN, but people still say his full name because it's such a cool name.
Yeah. And JSN is clunky. It sounds like a bad newspaper to me. Yeah. JSN.
Smith Najigba, like very common, crazy unique.
Yeah.
Let's put them together.
Yeah. I'm totally with you on that. Any takeaways fantasy wise from last night's Thursday night football game? Did you see something at all where you're going, boy, I want more of that guy, or somebody you're kind of fading on for the future?
Well, I mean, the Cardinals, I've been fading on for a while because first the Cardinals are the Cardinals, and they showed us exactly in the last 43 seconds. Like, I was like, oh, they're just going to lose in overtime. Nope, they did one better. We're not even going to let you get there. We'll just do it in 43 seconds.
The short kickoff was death.
Yeah, so Marvin Harrison causing 2 interceptions by, not catching balls, stuff like that. I was like, this is exactly why I don't like him. But in the last quarter and a half, it was the exact opposite. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, Marvin Harrison's making these really great catches. Look at him. He's a fantasy producer. But I don't think that's necessarily going to happen all the time. I think more likely you're going to get the first half, not the second half.
Would you avoid Kyler like the plague? Because he threw one interception that was dropped, and Marvin caused 2 interceptions. So it's almost like he broke even on one of them and the other one was unfair, but he should have had an extra interception as well. And he's not running for touchdowns. Is that somebody to stay away from forever?
I don't like him. He's got for instance, the Twitch account. I get it. He's a gamer. Yeah. Everyone's allowed to game. I get it. But when you're an NFL quarterback and you're paid, hundreds of millions of dollars, you would like to see the priorities of the team and winning and the effort being put forth at a higher level. Mm-hmm. And it seems like some of these guys, they get money, like LeBron James, he loses the finals and he laughs about it. Mm-hmm. That's why Michael Jordan's better, because he never laughs. So, but
Michael Jordan's better because he never laughs.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is Kyler's only 5'8". So his ceiling is you put him in a 7-foot ceiling. That's pretty tall for him,
He's listed at the combine. He supposedly measured 5'10", and I didn't believe it the second that came out.
Yeah, he's got those inserts in his shoes,
That's exactly what I thought. Even though they swear that they do that barefoot, and somehow he cheated the system, so I don't love it. All right, let's look at the league standings. There's a major battle on the top, a major battle this weekend. I don't know if you can easily pull it up and look at it, but
yeah,
I don't mind admitting there's only one person in the group that is 6-0, and yet I have the test of a lifetime here against AZ Brew Crew, Randy Brubaker. He's at 5-1, not only right there, but only 11 points overall behind me. So as you see the matchup, like I said, with him already up 11-0, what are you seeing?
Well, I mean, Hawkinson, I know he had a great had a great game last week, but I don't think they're going to score 48 points every week. So I don't know if he gets a touchdown. So I think that is definitely a weakness in yours.
Okay.
And Zay Flowers, week 1, 2, I was very big on him. He was getting 70 plus yards, a lot of targets. And then I don't know what happened to him. He just disappeared last week. So that scares me because before I always thought he was boom or bust, where Quentin Johnson is actually looking like he's a solid, fantasy producer week in and week out. Where I thought that it was Zay, but it looks like now it's kind of hit or miss.
I made a really good move late last week. I benched T. Higgins thinking that without Joe Burrow spreading it around, you would have Browning almost in a chase or bust, Jamar chase or bust kind of mode. But as you look at it, are you looking at my lineup and saying, let's figure out a way to get T. Higgins back in there this week?
No.
Okay.
That might have been some of the worst quarterback play I've ever seen in my entire life. It was like you honestly just felt bad for the guy. You're like, oh my God, just don't throw the ball. Just don't even do it. So, yeah, honestly, all Bengals. And, I know Jennifer, I was really big on Chase Brown. I wanted to trade for him. Wouldn't even trade a kicker for him at this point. That has gone bye-bye. So it sucks. Besides Chase Brown, he's the only one that even if your grandmother was throwing him the ball, he'd find a way to make some yards.
Okay. How about this question? How much do you care about the opposing defense? I've got Christian McCaffrey. He's going up against the 5th best rush defense in Jacksonville. I've got Travis Etienne Jr. on the other side of the ball that's going up against the 8th best rush defense in San Francisco. Meanwhile, I've got Allen that's going up against Miami's 28th best rushing defense on my bench. Should I take either of my running backs and figure out a way to get Braylon Allen in there and take out Etienne or McCaffrey?
All right, that's a great question because for some new fantasy owners, they look at the matchups and like, wow, this is green, it's 23.
Yeah.
The others are red. That means green's good, red's bad.
Yeah.
But with a guy like Christian McCaffrey, he's going up against the rush defense. He caught 10 receptions. So that's a totally different defense. They don't put that in the numbers. Okay. So Christian McCaffrey, he is a guy that you will never, ever, ever take out of your lineup unless he's hurt.
Okay.
ETN, he is the starting running back. So he's going to get the majority of the load. Where Braylon Allen is the backup. Breece Hall is the starter. So you'd rather go with the starter versus the backup.
Okay. Now, having said that, which is so interesting that was your point, I do have on my bench in the famous Bobby Mack League, Breece Hall from the New York Jets. But again, he is on my bench. In that league, I am starting Jahmyr Gibbs, against Cleveland's very, very stout rush defense. James Cook, who has now been, I've retired him into the Hall of Fame of fantasy backs.
He's top 5 this year.
Yeah, so I'm fine there. And then I did something interesting this week. I have restarted. I actually benched Ashton Genty last week in that league, and it worked. But he's going up against the Bears, and the Bears' rush defense is a disaster. So today's question is Bears with Ashton. Do I do Ashton Genty against the Bears, or do I slip in Breece Hall against Miami?
Wow, that's really close. I think my gut just says Genty.
Okay.
He's got more unproven potential talent. And the Bears just, they'll give up 28 points to anybody. So they don't even care. They're like, come on, Khalid, you get 21 points or 29 points. See if you win.
Now, just so everybody knows that's listening in the Unplugged Army, we record this on Thursday night. So even though you're listening on Friday, we record this on Thursday nights. And I always want to encourage you, email me your questions over the weekend so I can ask Rich about any waiver wire pickups or matchups to look at. And email me your questions as you get closer to the end of the week for any lineup hints on something that you want to start or a question that you've got, and we'll be able to ask Brad those things. And this question comes to us from someone named Becky, and I don't think I've ever had an email from someone named Becky, and it just says, help me with my defense. Who do you think might be available that I should pick up this late in the year, even though it's not really that late, Becky?
Yeah, see, that's a tough question because you don't know if you're dealing with a 10-person league, a 14-person league, stuff like that. So, for instance, like the defenses that were out there, I picked up the Rams right before last week because they were sitting out there and had an open spot. So I was like, well, that's kind of weird. Their D-line has been killing it. So I picked them up, very happy with that. If the 49ers are out there or the Chargers, that would be someone, or possibly Detroit. Most likely they're gone after last week and the smackdown that they had put down.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, other than that, I would just kind of be streaming defenses at that point.
Okay.
Because there's not anyone that you're just going to want to, like I have the Seahawks defense, which they're looking great right now. So I'm probably going to just start them over Baltimore almost every week.
It's funny you say that. I lucked into in the Unplugged League. I lucked into the Steelers because they almost cost me wins in the first two games, but I was able to escape. Last week they played the Jets and had 5 turnovers, and then this week they're up against a bad Minnesota team. Minnesota's record's not bad, but backup quarterback Carson Wentz coming in. I feel good against the Steelers. I don't think you can consider him
as a backup. Like I know he is technically a backup.
Yeah,
he doesn't play.
He's probably better than the starter.
Marcus Mariota is playing like a backup. Like Mac Jones isn't playing like a backup. Like those guys are just literally they're staying poised and they're just they're just being functional quarterbacks. They're not making mistakes, and that's helping their team win.
So it's funny. I have 3 quarterbacks. I have Aaron Rodgers, Brock Purdy, and Mac Jones. And I plan on just starting whatever 49er quarterback is starting. I have a problem this week. I don't know which 49er. I don't know what's going on with the 49er quarterbacks.
From latest I've heard, it's going to be Purdy this week. So I would start him in there, and then, hopefully just before church, you just check it out and make the swap.
That is because
you usually know before 9 a.m., 9 a.m.
Yeah, that's going to be vitally important. Okay, give me some fantasy trends kind of going into the weekend. Are there any? I mean, I realize we're into week 4 now. Some things are starting to settle in, but what's a key tip now, or what are some players that you eyeballed this week or possibly picked up this week, or maybe somebody that you think has a favorable matchup? Go wherever you want to go.
We didn't talk about this last week, but Houston, I have no idea what is going on there. They have plenty of talent, but man, they cannot play. I mean, they're playing some of the worst teams and struggling. So I can't imagine when they actually play like a real opponent. So I actually have them losing to Carolina this week because they're that bad. So, I mean, Nico.
That'll be really hard because don't they play Tennessee?
Oh, Tennessee. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
They're equally.
It's 0-3 teams from the South. It's the same thing.
And what is that light blue team that sucks?
Yeah.
So I actually picked Tennessee to get their first win against them because
you know what I shouldn't have said though. 0-3 teams from the South, because didn't Carolina just destroy Atlanta shockingly last week?
1-2. Yeah.
That I still don't understand.
They have one win.
Yeah. What are your secrets now? Any secret guys that you have, or that you're happy that you picked up on waivers, or you wish you could have?
Quentin Johnson is just, I mean, honestly, he was a guy, I loved his rookie year. I picked him up. He didn't give me any points. I dropped him. I picked him up. I probably waste over the 2 years 5 waiver moves on this guy because I think he's going to be great. He's got such speed and talent. And then, man, he couldn't catch the ball. But something happened this year where, I mean, he's catching probably 85-90% of the balls, which is amazing because he's such a deep threat option. So he is one. I actually paid a lot of money in the fab budget. For those of you who have it, I spent 32 of my $100 on him to make sure I got him, which I heavily overspent because the next guy was at 11. But I just want to make sure I got a top receiver, and he's looking like he's going to pan to be a top 12, a fringe number 1.
Okay. Brad, where do you go Saturday night, Sunday morning? Give us a website or two that is one of your secrets to success that fantasy football players can try to add to their repertoire of getting prepared for their battle.
Go to Chipotle.
I said website.
Oh, website.
Not Chipotle to order.
Chipotle. Well, you can go online and order.
Yes, I know.
Well, honestly, the websites that I like to go to is, like I told you, the app, the Breacher Nation.
Mm-hmm.
They give you some of the fastest news you can possibly imagine. Literally, there's a guy in our fantasy league, I'd type our group chat, oh, so-and-so is out. He just calf. And then ESPN would announce it like 4 minutes later. And he's like, how the hell did he know that? Mm-hmm. So he thought I had like insiders like on the field and just knew this stuff, like Adam Schefter. But like, he literally believed me for a little while until he realized, oh, he's just got the app.
Yeah.
So Breacher Nation, highly recommend.
And is that with a B? Is it with a P? What is it?
B. Breacher Nation.
Breacher Nation. Okay.
Yeah. So let me see if I can. Yeah. Breacher Nation Fantasy.
Okay.
So literally everything from Twitter, they just scan all the stuff from all the different, cities and everything. And they just literally pull it together really, really fast. So, and if you have questions too, you can send them on there. Like, who should I start? This guy or this guy? And people will vote and you can see the tally.
That's good. Give me any matchups that you like, meaning this receiver against this defense, this player, anything to avoid this week. What are you looking at in week 4 of the NFL?
Well, I played a couple if you're doing like a daily and you're really excited on what matchup is going to be here and there. The Chargers are playing the Giants. So everybody on that team I like. So the defense, the kicker, everybody. So I think Marion Hampton is going to have a really breakout game. He was looking just like a stretched out LaDainian Tomlinson at the end of that second half. And I was just like, wow, this kid is really cutting. He's hitting people hard and just kind of like, I don't know. He didn't look like a rookie to me. So I think he's going to really progress. So I'm excited to see that. I don't know if Trey Tucker is going to have another 3 touchdown game because I don't think he will. Mm-hmm. But I'm interested to see, is he going to have another good game because he is going against, like you said, the Bears.
Right.
So it's a perfect opportunity to kind of back that up.
Justin Herbert right now is at his over under is set at 257.5.
So what I would do is just take the alternative line and just take it for 250.
Okay.
So, because sometimes they know it so well, it's like 255. So I was trying to take an alternative line. You might go back from a 110, minus 110 to a minus 200.
Yeah.
But it's such a safer play. Just throw an extra leg in there and you kind of make up for the odds.
Okay. I like drifting into, maybe away from somebody's fantasy team, because I only had the question from Becky, but I haven't pushed a lot of people to ask me their starting lineup questions so I can understand.
And if they want to send it to you anytime during the week, you can email us and we'll let you know via email, and then you can bring it to your show that day.
Oh, that's good too. I think we covered everything. Is there anything else you can think of for week 4, or any fears you have, or any praise you want to give the 6-0 Commander and KC Chiefs?
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Like I said, I only care about beat Doug and ban the pooch punt. Those are the 2 people that and I have to make sure I beat everybody else. But I would do want a little piece of AZ Brew Crew just because the competitive juices flow when it's 6-0 versus 5-1.
Yeah, I've actually been pretty happy with the league. Very happy with the trades that have gone back. Very active. I wouldn't say trash talk, but it's nice that people have different opposing views and they let each other know. So I've been actually pretty happy with the league. Oh,
that's awesome. That's awesome to hear. The most shocking thing to me, like if I would have set it up.
6-0?
No, that was expected. is I am really surprised at Beer Blitz Repeat for a guy that is a blackjack genius. Ryan is really falling on his face, and I have been a little bit of a disappointment. So we have the bottom of the barrel here in this matchup. No Name Henry versus Blackjack Genius. What's going to happen here? Because you need it and he needs it if you're going to stay relevant.
Well, see, this is why I always tell fantasy owners, like when you lose your first 3 weeks, it's okay. There's only 3 weeks. There's a lot of talent on the waiver wires. There's a lot of ways. There's trades. People haven't really popped yet. You can get them. Injuries happen. There's way to get starting guys. So my team I've traded. And if you look at my starting roster from when I drafted, it's an entirely different team.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised if I rattled off a couple wins in a row here. And then all of a sudden my 1-5, is like, could be a 6-5 or something.
11 points from your Seahawks defense last night is a nice start.
Yeah. And Aaron Jones went out. So my Jordan Mason is now a starting running back.
Okay.
My pickup of Quentin Johnson turned out really well. Hunter Henry, I picked up on the waivers, or actually I might trade for him. I can't remember. I get the two leagues mixed up. I got Hunter Henry in both leagues. I did take on your advice in the other league, and I decided to go no name Henrys.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I'm so arrogant that as soon as you said take my advice, I thought it was going to be like fantasy advice, and I was so happy to help a guru, and then it was just a title. So
that's cute.
I wasn't that important. All right. Thank you, Brad. Talk to you next week.
All right. See you, mate.
Diamondbacks a loser. I went to the game yesterday, but I feel unprepared. I admit it. The reason why I feel unprepared is there wasn't a seat available. With the Dodgers being brilliant in the way that they've marketed themselves to Asian baseball fans, the Asian media just completely takes over. And you got a game with Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto both pitching. And the Diamondbacks were very clear to the local media, hey, if you are coming, let us know. And we need to get prepared now. I did not send a return email that said I'm coming. And the reason why I didn't is because I didn't know. With my sleep cycle, I don't know what I'm going to need. I don't know if I can hack it. So I went to 2 games. I went to Tuesday's game and got lucky I could sit in the 12 news section. Well, then I get there yesterday and there's 2 people that I've never seen in my life sitting in the 12 news seats, and I don't think they were with 12 news. But since I'm only like a 12 news part-timer, I didn't feel important enough to say, hey, get up. So I'm actually watching the game in the back lunch area of the press box, watching it on TV just like you. So then I don't get the same feel for the game in that sense. And I was writing breakdown. So I kind of failed, but I don't really think it matters. The decision to not start Zach Allen, I thought was so poor. Now, what they are saying is Zach has had a couple outings in which he felt sick, and they thought, you know what, let's give him 1 extra day of rest. And most people said they're going to be having a bullpen day at some point. Well, here's why I thought that was a really, really poor decision by the Diamondbacks. If you're going up against the Dodgers, who are trying to ice the division, they won the division yesterday, ice the division and catch the Brewers possibly for an improved situation, or maybe it was the Phillies, to improve on their chances of having home field. I don't think you screw with that. I think you pitch your best while your best is needed, and Zach Allen needs to suck it up and go. Then, if you have to have a bullpen game, you do it the day after the Padres have clinched. Once the Padres clinch, have their celebration, and they know, for better or for worse, we can't get home field, because that's what they're battling it out for, is home field with the Cubs. Whoever's the 4 seed hosts the 5 seed. Yeah, that's it. So with that, you're going to want to have this discussion of, all right, as soon as we figure out where we're going to be, once we don't have anything to fight for, or once we celebrate, those guys sit the bench the next day. Well, that's the day to do the bullpen game. I think it's a really asinine decision to push Zach Allen to Friday. Now, the way the situation works for the Diamondbacks, it's the number 2. any combination of two and the Diamondbacks are done. If the Mets and Reds win 2 out of 3, it's over. Diamondbacks are out. They can't catch them. If the Diamondbacks lose 1 game, all the Mets or Reds have to do is win 1 game. So that's the crazy scenario here. The Diamondbacks, if they sweep, they still can't have the other one of both of them, or really either of them, win the series. Think about that. Your options to make it are both teams lose 2 games and the Diamondbacks sweep. That's it. That's the only option. Or both of them get swept and the Diamondbacks win the series against the Padres. You take 2 of 3 and they both get swept, you're in. Now, has it happened? Yeah, remember the Diamondbacks. The year they went to the World Series, they got swept by the Astros and barely made the playoffs in games 115, 160, 161, and 162. So it can happen, but the Mets are at the Marlins. The Reds are at the Brewers, and they might have already iced it. So it should be easy to face them when they are when the Reds are desperate and the Brewers aren't. Just a lot of tactical errors to finish this season. Lack of urgency on the part of the players in April and May. Lack of accountability handed down by the manager in April and May. Bunch of mistakes littered throughout the season. And then ending the season with 2 sack bunts, one by your best player when it's tied, one by anybody, I don't care who it is, when you're down by a run, and you need to protect outs. And then let's push Zach off a day against the Los Angeles freaking Dodgers. There's a lot of frustration here. And I love my team. There's a lot of frustration with the way they've handled 2025. No, I don't think everybody should be fired. No, I don't think everybody should. I mean, I had to think about that one. The problem is, why do I think it's going to get better? And I don't know. I don't know if I do. Gosh, it was a just terrible way to finish the season. I don't have anything else. I'm a little tired, I admit, but the Diamondbacks have worn me out. ASU and U of A, I don't feel great about either game. U of A tomorrow afternoon, ASU tonight. I think the number one thing is, and I didn't think I would be saying this about ASU, but I will. I think both teams are going up against opposition that has better quarterbacks. I still believe Sam Leavitt should be better, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. He hasn't done it on a consistent enough basis this year for whatever reason for me to say I'm ready to believe. Now that's why it was so interesting when head coach Kenny Dillingham said how great he had played. But so far, statistically at least, Josh Hoover's a better quarterback. And then, of course, Rocco Beck's been at Iowa State forever. So you've got that. You clearly have a better coach at Iowa State than you do at U of A. ASU, I would take Kenny Dillingham over Sonny Dykes, but it's not like, I mean, the TCU coach knows exactly what he's doing. So that might even be a wash. So where do we go next? Well, ASU does have a clear advantage over TCU's defense. I think the Devils are better defensively than TCU is. However, TCU is 5th best in the country. I don't know if you picked that up in breakdown at converting third downs. So if you're watching tonight's game, the number one thing to really pay attention to is first and second down distances gained and how far the down and distance is on third down. third down conversions are going to be an important stat, but really what's going to be more important is TCU looking at a 3rd and 7 or are they looking at a 3rd and 3? That's going to be more important than just the generic converting of third downs. And that's what worries me. I think they're going to be able to get some yards early in each series and then keep moving the chains. But if ASU can keep the running game going and the crowd noise can affect TCU, then they got a chance. And this is real noise if they go 3-0 in the beginning of the Texas 3-step. That would be pretty huge for both teams, but a little more U of A. U of A has done a great job with turnovers, limiting theirs and getting them. Sam Leavitt for a while was leading the nation in interceptions. So ASU isn't as good, but U of A has had one of the best turnover margins in college football. That's the only way they win on the road. I'm not going to guarantee Iowa State wins. I think you have a chance to win if you're a U of A fan, but you've got to get turnovers. And I don't really think you're going to get it from Rocco Beck. So therefore, it's going to come from fumbles. It's going to come from physical hits. It's going to come from staying engaged on a long drive. As Iowa State marches down the field, do the kids get demoralized? Wow, we can't stop them. We can't stop them. We get bam, touchdown. Or do they realize every play is a chance to force the ball out? And who cares that they just drove the 70 yards downfield because we ended up with the ball. So turnovers are huge in that game. And they're huge every game, but because U of A has already proven they will take care of the football, they've got to be able to do that to Iowa State. I think for ASU, like I said, number one, first and second down defensively to make sure the third downs are more difficult against TCU. And offensively, they've got to be able to pound the ball. Keep TCU and Josh Hoover on the sideline. Eat clock. I know it's boring, but eat clock. Run the football. Get the safeties away from Jordan Tyson by forcing them to help out in the run game. If you can do that, you can get the ball to Tyson. And then I think every ASU fan knows that the last thing, who's going to be the other target? I think you're going to see a lot of screens in this game against TCU. I think you're going to see a lot of screens to Raleek Brown. I think you're going to see a lot of tight end screens. I think you're going to see them at the beginning almost using Tyson as a little bit of a diversion to have some throwback screens to slow down the pass rush, slow down TCU, make them try to be honest and play the whole field. And once you've frightened them with throwback screens, now you attack them with Jordan Tyson. There's my football game plans for you. All right, coming up next, the next interview that we've got. I love Ryder Cup. It's actually on right now while I'm talking. You will be able to see the 4-ball if you're not already watching the 4-sums right now. You're going to be able to watch 4-ball this afternoon and then all weekend. We're going to talk to my friend Brandon of Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass to give us a little bit of a Ryder Cup explanation, but really dive deep into some of the matchups today. That's next. This is Doug Franz Unplugged, presented by Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass.
Here is Sue Rigler talking about game day at 100 Mile Brewing Company.
Game day here at 100 Mile Brewing is less than a mile away from ASU. So game day, we have the hockey game at Mullet. We've got basketball at Desert Financial, and we have football at Sun Devil Stadium. We have free parking, and you can actually even walk over. We've got a parking garage with 8 floors, so we'll never run out of parking, and it's free. So it's always a buzz and fun to watch the games here.
100 Mile Brewing Company. Fresh. It never gets old.
Okay, Unplugged Army. We touched on it last week. This is Brandon from Whirlwind Golf. He doesn't probably want to claim this, but he's my golf instructor, even though I've only had like 1.5 lessons, one club fitting, one lesson, and therefore not enough for him to actually be blamed for any of my challenges in life. However, I know that he is the best in the business. So if you want any information on it, just email me, Doug@DougFranzUnplugged.com, or you can go to whirlwindgolf.com and just click on book a lesson and look for the bearded one. And let's roll into, Brandon, a little bit of a recap. What are we starting with early this morning? And for most people that are listening to Doug Franz Unplugged, they've already left for work. So it's already started for a lot of them right now. But tell us what's going on this morning.
Yeah, so we've got in the morning, we've got the foursomes matches, which is basically alternate shot. So you're having one player tee off on all the odd holes, one player tee off on all the even holes. And then it's, whichever team, either America.
Doesn't matter who knocks it in on the green. Nope. It's always the same guy on the even hole.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's going to be going on this morning. And it starts at 4:10 is the first match, our time. Okay. So if you're driving into work, there might be a match that was already done. If you're driving at 7 dealing with rush hour. So there's 4 matches in the morning. You want to go through kind of who's playing and setups and things?
Yeah.
So the U.S. first match is Bryson DeChambeau and Justin Thomas for the U.S. versus John Rahm and Terrell Hatton for Europe.
Let's stop on each one. So tell me about this matchup. Do you like the matchups overall? Do you like this pairing? What's the art of pairing them together? What is it maybe about Bryson and JT? Because I'm not knowledgeable enough, and I know every time there's a Ryder Cup, there's a Justin Thomas and his partner is Jordan Spieth. So obviously with Spieth not being really, I hate to say it because I'm a fan, but not being good enough to be in Ryder Cup, why these two together?
Yeah. So, I'll start with the Europe. It's a pairing we've seen before. They were actually the first Europe pairing in 2023 for the foursomes. They beat Scotty Scheffler and Sam Burns. So you mentioned the Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth pairing that we're used to seeing. John Rahm, Terrell Hatton are kind of that same pairing, but for Europe. Very dominant duo. In 2023, when they played together, they didn't lose a match. They went 2-0, and it was all in foursomes. So Europe's putting their best two for foursomes out there. And then USA is countering with Bryson and Justin Thomas, who are probably, I'd say, the two most electric as far as getting the crowd involved.
Yeah.
I think for the USA, that's a huge factor for them, is having the crowd on their side.
Okay.
And so it's going to be fireworks. I read an article tonight that Trump might even be walking through the tunnel with Bryson to the first tee in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
Which I go, if that happens, I can only imagine how that crowd's going to react.
That's going to be the weirdest thing ever, because you're going to have every European boo him.
Oh yeah.
And then you're going to have 50% Americans booing him and 50% Americans cheering like mad. So it's going to be insane.
But the U.S. strategy is we got to get out to a hot start, right? And we got to get this crowd fired up. With the pairings that they made.
I'm just thinking the security, Brandon, with the wide open nature of a golf tournament. And if it starts at 7:10 Eastern, you're going to need to get there at about 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning to get through security and then to sit where you want to sit.
Yeah. Hey, I would like to say, that's crazy, but I've also seen what time people line up for the Phoenix Open every year. So the Ryder Cup's even a bigger deal than that.
Yeah, you're right.
For me, there's probably, as we speak right now, people lined up waiting to get in to Bethpage Black. So that's the first match. I think that's going to be a really big one. I'm curious to see how the U.S. comes out. The next match at 4:26, you've got world number 1 Scotty Scheffler for the U.S. and Ryder Cup rookie Russell Henley.
Is that probably why they're together?
I don't think
the best with the rookie. Okay.
I was shocked. Scotty Scheffler and Sam Burns spend a lot of time traveling together and playing together and very close off the golf course. So I was kind of shocked not to see them play together, at least on Friday morning. I would guess they would play together at some point through this Ryder Cup, because if I go back and look at 2023, They played together, I believe, twice.
Okay.
Yeah, Scheffler and Burns. They actually got beat by John Rahm and Terrell Hatton in that first match in 2023.
Okay. And
so
who are they against?
They are against in the Europe. We've got Ludwig Adberg and Matt Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
So Ludwig hasn't been playing great lately. Scotty on the U.S.
Yeah,
side
Oberg was on fire at the beginning of the year and then just kind of ran into a wall.
Yeah, I mean, golf's a tough. It's hard to play good for so long, which is why, for me, what Scotty's doing is so impressive.
I feel the same way. Like from one shot to the next one, to keep playing well is very difficult.
So for me, I mean, I like Scotty and Russ a lot in that matchup.
Okay.
But Matt Fitzpatrick's been there before. I mean, and Ludwig has too. To me, going into this Ryder Cup, that's kind of the storyline is, USA's got 5 rookies on the team, or 4 rookies, and then Bryson didn't play in 2023.
Okay.
So 4 rookies, how are they going to handle that pressure? And to me, I mean, the first pairing, you don't have a rookie. Bryson didn't play in 2023, but he's played in 2 other Ryder Cups and he's competed in some major championships and won. But Russell Henley's kind of that first rookie out on Friday for the U.S. So I'm curious to see how he holds up under pressure.
But the thing about Russell Henley, and listen, I've never had a beer with him, but I feel like he's the type of guy that never even took his shirt off at a college party. He just seems like he's totally under control all the time.
Yeah, I mean, and they both are similar in that kind of mindset. Right?
Yeah,
very even keel, not the complete opposite of what the first pairing.
It is kind of funny you didn't go yin and yang and have like Bryson and Russell. So it's both. It's like, no, let's put our energy guys together first because they might drive somebody else crazy. So we'll put our 2 energy guys together and then we'll put our 2 calm guys together.
Yeah. And so they can feed off each other, right? Make sure they're similar. So those are the first 2 matches. Next match for US, I've got Colin Morikawa and Harris English. So Harris English, Ryder Cup rookie. Colin Morikawa struggled a little bit in the past. He was on the team in 2023. His record wasn't very good. His individual record, 2023, he went 1-3, and then he lost his singles match. And then you've got him with, the rookie in Harris English. So for me, I go, and then they're going up against 2 of Europe's best players in Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood.
I hate to ask this, but is there a chance Keegan Bradley just gave him a hall pass and said, you know what, those 2 are so good. Let's just take one for the team here.
I mean, the consensus is that, Colin can play well and he's a major champion. He's won big events. I just haven't seen it this year.
Right.
I forget the number off the top of my head, but I was watching an article a couple of days ago and Collins went through, I believe, 7 or 8 putters this year.
Yeah.
So I go, he's not that he's playing bad, but he's searching right now. And so for me, I don't love that, especially to your point, going up against, in my opinion, probably the best pairing that the Europeans have.
Yeah.
I go, and Rory always gets fired up for the Ryder Cup. He loves it. Tommy Fleetwood is, gives off this kind of innocent look with the long hair, but he really loves this stuff. And so for me, I'm like, man, that's a tough one. If I had to kind of pick one match that's going to go one way, it'd probably be this one. I would put my money on Rory and Tommy.
Even though you built up the first match with Hatton and Rahm, I got to tell you, this last match is interesting to me the most because, fair or not, I kind of feel like, yes, you can always have a half, but I feel like it's going to be 2-1. I feel like the U.S. is winning the first 2. No way are we taking the third. And then this last one of the day, last one of the foursomes, not of the day.
Yeah.
Kind of seems like, okay, are we going to be up 3-1 or are we going to be tied?
Yeah, I don't know. And they're going back with 2 guys who played together in 2023 in Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay. And so, Cantlay has a pretty good Ryder Cup record. He's not the most liked guy. Caught a lot of flack for not wearing the hat in the last Ryder Cup and all that kind of nonsense and off the course stuff. But he was one of our better players for U.S. And then they're going up against Robert McIntyre and Victor Hovland, which Robert McIntyre had a great year this year. I like him.
But Victor Hovland, he's short game's getting back there. He had a guy who I speak with and mentor under a little bit, Joseph Mayo, TrackMan Maestro, and he had him dialed in 2023. Like, short game was phenomenal. He went away from him in 2024, and they reconnected a little bit this year. So I'm curious to see if he can put it together. But I mean, Robert McIntyre's been a stud all year. He was one of my guys I picked to win the Open this year, and he played really well. Looking at that last pairing, one thing that's kind of like maybe it's just a talking point the talk show hosts make up, but it does seem like, okay, you have every member of the Ryder Cup team except one playing in Napa, and you're going to start that one in the last round or the last match of the foursomes in Shoffley. And then Cantlay, maybe this is me making it up, but it seemed like he thrived in the villain role in 2023, and he's not the villain now. And so I kind of wonder, okay, does he still thrive in that role? I'm pretty worried about that pairing.
See, that's where, for me, I go, like, Cantlay's overall record in the Ryder Cup is 5-2-1.
Right.
I go in foursomes, it's his weakest. He's 2-2.
Okay.
But I go, he's been in 2 Ryder Cups and he's 5-2-1. Like, that's the best record of any U.S. player.
All right.
So I've got some confidence in him. Xander, for me, would maybe be the question mark, but I actually think the U.S., like that last match, I feel pretty good about that. Just because of Hovland kind of had an off year, and, Bobby McIntyre, he lets a lot of the noise get to him. So if there are some heckling and some fans, which I imagine there's going to be, I could see the U.S. being up 3-1. But for me, as long as you don't get beat 4-0 in the first morning on Friday, anything can happen. Right? It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So as long as you don't lose 4-0, and even last year, I mean, they lost 4-0, and going into the singles matches, it really wasn't outrageously far off.
Okay.
Like, when we lost 4-0 Friday morning in 2023, and going into the singles matches, we were only down 5.
One thing that I'm guessing, and I don't know this, since foursomes are alternating shot, and you might have a match end in 16 or 17 holes or something, I'm guessing they probably get done in about 3 hours. So like this first thing could be done by 11 in the morning, their time. And I hate to say it, but at some point by the time you get to work, they might be done.
It very well could be, right?
Okay.
And then it's okay. Let's see what happened. Watch the highlights. And then I'm excited to watch 4-ball in the afternoon.
So what should we expect? If somebody's able to watch foursomes, is there anything to look out for to possibly project into 4-ball in the afternoon or foursomes again Saturday morning?
Saturday morning, I would want to see, I mean, Europe didn't really make too many changes. Their Ryder Cup team is the same except for one player, and it's his brother playing instead of him.
Yeah.
The U.S. again has got 5 new players since 2023. So
that's the Hoygaards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The U.S. almost has half a new team.
Okay.
So I'm curious to see how these pairings work. I didn't see Keegan putting Bryson and Justin together. I imagined an alternate shot. I really thought they were going to put Bryson and Cam Young together. Cam Young is a New York kid. He grew up over there. And also in alternate shot, what's funny, and a lot of recreational golfers don't understand this, is the golf ball at the professional level is such a huge component because it's the only piece of equipment you use on every shot, right? You might have a different driver, a Titleist driver, and TaylorMade irons, or the other way around, but you're using that same golf ball the whole round. And so if you get put with someone who plays a different type of golf ball than you, an alternate shot, it's a conversation you have to have of, well, whose golf ball are we actually going to play?
Wow.
And so Bryson and Cam Young play the same golf ball. Bryson plays a very special prototype ball from Titleist. And Cam Young earlier this year was switching around between balls and tested Bryson's ball and actually went out and won the Wyndham Championship the first week he put it in play. So I thought that was going to be like, oh, that'd be a very easy pairing. They both also hit it a long ways.
Yes.
Cam Young being a hometown kid, I could see the crowd getting behind him.
I would have wanted him to lead off. Interesting now that you explain all that. There will never be a day that I know 8% as much as Keegan Bradley does, but you've already got me questioning. I'm interested in that Cam Young pairing that doesn't exist.
Yeah. So, and I'm curious to see if it doesn't come out on Saturday. If Bryson and Justin don't win, right? Do you change that going into Saturday?
And then if they don't win, but you think Justin plays well enough, I'm assuming you keep him in, but you partner him up with somebody else. Yeah. I mean, then, do you look to, another rookie? Because, I mean, Justin's played in quite a few Ryder Cups. And so for me, it's, do you put him with a, JJ Spawn, or do you put him with a Ben Griffin? Ben Griffin was the one that I was shocked that wasn't going out on Friday morning as well. Okay. I'm wondering too, the second pairing, if we do well in that, if Scotty and Russell do well, can we root for a 15-hole match, maybe 16-hole match, and Scotty plays fewer holes, and then he's a little bit more ready to play coming up this afternoon, so he can double up in day one? I mean, that's the hope, because I mean, poor Scotty. I mean, he's probably going to play quite a few matches. Back in 2023. Right, Scotty played 4, so he sat out 1 match. Okay. Max Homa actually played all 5. Which shocked me, but he played really well. He was our number 1 points guy in 2023. Gamer. So it's not unheard of that somebody plays 5 matches, but typically your better players are playing 4, because they at least, I go, that's 36 holes on Friday, 36 on Saturday. The emotional roller coaster of what the Ryder Cup is on top of that. It doesn't make sense. Saturday's your day off, right? Saturday's the one day where you say, hey, we'll double up here. You're playing on Sunday, but let's kind of have your total on Saturday. Well, usually it's a Saturday afternoon type thing, especially with Scotty, where it's, hey, I want you playing all day Friday. Get us out there an alternate shot on Saturday. And then best ball is a little bit easier than alternate shot, where if somebody's not playing as well, right, one guy can kind of carry the team. Yeah. Makes sense. Hey, any final thoughts? I'm hoping USA can pull it off. I think if we have a chance to win, in the next probably 3 Ryder Cups, I'm liking our odds right now. Okay. Our odds are like we're minus 150 favorite, which kind of shocked me, to be honest, with the team that Europe has. Typically, home field in the Ryder Cup's a big deal, but Europe has won 10 of the last 14 Ryder Cups. Wow. So they have dominated us. I don't know about you, but just listening to you, I'm already thinking of the Whirlwind Cup, and you bring in your, maybe not 12 people, but you bring in a team of 8, something like that, your normal 8 buddies, and you pay, and then you have somebody else's 8 buddies, and we team up pairings and we do something crazy. I mean, I think we have a Doug team and a Franz team. You can captain the Franz team. I'll captain the Doug team. And we go ahead and have some fun with it. Well, I don't know if I like that, because if I'm in charge of my team, then what I have to do is not play me. I will pull a Keegan Bradley then, so we can win. Not a playing captain. Yeah, no way. Because then it's about winning. Hey, do me a favor, schedule some time coming up, maybe. Let's say Tuesday afternoon, and let's get you back on, because I'll be so busy in football and Diamondbacks on Monday, I won't be able to really wrap up the show. But let's have you on next week to talk Ryder Cup. Yeah, 100%. And hopefully we're celebrating a U.S. victory. Absolutely. Thank you, Brandon. Doug, thank you, sir.
It's time for versus Vegas.
I just don't feel like dancing at 4-3. I'm happy, but just really bummed it wasn't 5-2 yesterday. There's a couple here that I should have had, and I'm not happy that I didn't get it. Here are the ones I got right. I took Houston on the money line over the A's. We got it 11-5. I took the Dodgers to cover the run line against the Diamondbacks. They more than did that, winning 8-0. I took Seattle on the money line over the Cardinals. We got that 23-20. I said Kyler Murray would be under 212 yards passing. He threw for 200. So we got that. Those are the 4 that I got. Now listen to how close I was on the other ones. I said the Yankees would win by 3 or more, -2.5. They beat the White Sox 5-3. Missed it by a run. We took the Reds to cover the run line against the Pirates at 1.5. So we need to win by 2. Reds won, like we said, but 2-1. Missed it by a run. And then we took Jackson Smith and Jigba to go over 83.5 yards. All he needed was one more catch in the first 3 quarters. He would have had it. He got 77 yards. So he finished about 6 yards away. So we end up going 4-3. Come on. All right, let's try to get it back today. I got baseball first. I got the I got the Braves handling the Pirates and covering the run line at -1.5. Pirates had to travel. Atlanta had the day off. And the Pirates just came off an emotional series against the Reds. And I got Florida State covering 6.5 against Virginia. I got TCU plus the 3 over ASU. I'm still saying hopefully ASU wins, but I'm taking TCU plus the 3. Saturday, I'm taking my Bobcats along with Bowling Green to go over the 50.5. My Bobcats score like crazy and they let people score. I think that's a low total for the Bobcats. So we'll take Ohio and BG over the 50.5. And I've got BYU -6.5 against Colorado on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I really like the Browns and Lions defenses. And I don't like the Browns' offense. So we're going to take the under 44.5. And I think we're going to get that one. Looking at somewhere right around a 24-17 score, something like that. And that's how we'll get it. So, again, favorites, BYU, the Braves, and Florida State all covering. And TCU with the points. And Browns, Lions under, Bobcats, Falcons over. All right, sound credits today. I got the Jordan Ott that I used from the Suns YouTube page. I got Tori because I actually went. But I did use the sound from DBACKS.com because I was so tired I didn't transfer the sound and edit it. So I still went to DBACKS.com. So make sure if you're ever interested in seeing Tori, go to DBACKS.com and watch his pressers there, although they do splice it up quite a bit. I got the Matt Campbell of Iowa State. I got him from, what was that? A Cyclone Fanatic on YouTube. And I got all the Cardinals sound that I used today from the Arizona Cardinals YouTube page. That does it for today's version of Doug Franz Unplugged, presented by Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass. Sorry I'm like mentally incoherent right now and the podcast is getting up at 7 in the morning. I just feel terrible about it. But I don't really have another way around it if we ever have another week like this where the Diamondbacks are fighting for the playoffs in the last week of the season, into a Thursday night Cardinals game, into a Friday night ASU game, into Suns opening week of practice. It's just insane for me, and I'm kind of running on fumes. So I apologize for flaming out on you. Whirlwind Golf Club is the best place to play golf in the city. They're just such good people. Please figure out a way, if you can, to be a Whirlwind Plus member. Bell's Nashville Kitchen is the original sponsor of Doug Franz Unplugged, and they're the home of the Nashville Hot Chicken Sandwich. Best sandwich in the city. Santan Ford, 202 in Val Vista. I am Santan Ford. I'll be there tomorrow. Parker & Sons, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Call 6022-REPAIR. That's 602, the number 2, then REPAIR for Parker & Sons. Burrito Express has locations all across the east side. I would love, as exhausted as I am, man, a steak and salsa, or a breakfast burrito, actually. I'd like to have a breakfast burrito right now. And 100 Mile Brew. Man, thanks a lot to them. You know what? I'm going to see if I can talk my daughter into stopping by there for lunch. Well, wait, that's the game's today. I was thinking, let's do that tomorrow, but then that's today. I need to get to bed so I can get to the game and beat traffic. The game is coming up in 12 hours, and I'm figuring traffic's going to be horrible on a weekday to get into the stadium. Oh, my gosh. You ever feel like you're swimming upstream? That's exactly what I feel like right now. And don't forget Trophy Bar, home of the best sports bar rigatoni that's ever existed. Man, that Trophy is a fantastic sports bar. Televisions everywhere. You'll always be able to see the game. They have all of the packages. Just a great spot to watch sports with good pizza, great rigatoni, and good beer as well. Yeah, I'm going to try to figure out a way to get to 100 Mile Brew today. But I might fail on that. Let's just be clear. Because if I need to get to the stadium by like 4 o'clock or something, yeah, that might not work. I don't know. Now I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to check out. Hey, have a good weekend. Thanks for sticking with me when I struggle. I'll see you Monday. Have a good weekend, Al.
Doug, thank you so much. My best to your listeners, and keep up the work on Doug French Unplugged.